Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, Conference Edition. In this podcast, we spotlight upcoming Cold Fusion conferences and talk to organizers, workshop trainers, and speakers to uncover all the information you and your company needs to decide what conferences and workshops to attend and what sessions you need to see.
Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, Conference Edition. I am Stephany, a consultant for Ortus Solutions, and today I actually stole Gavin's seat so that I can interview him today about his workshop, ColdBox 0 to Hero, that he's going to be given at ITB2020 in Texas from May 5th through May 8th. So welcome, Gavin, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. It feels weird to be on the other side of the screen for once.
Yeah, but it is like a dream come true that usually it is me listening, but today, so you're going to be the one who's going to be answering our questions. So I would like to know, what is the workshop going to be about?
So, ColdBox 0 to Hero, it's just like what it says on the title. We're going to take you from someone that knows nothing about ColdBox, and we're going to basically make you a hero. We're going to show you how Ortus Solutions builds applications. We're going to show you some great tools for like using CommandBox to scaffold out your app, using CommandBox and ForgeBox, our package manager, to install some great modules. So you'll learn about CB security. We look at sort of CB guide. We'll be using QB, and we'll mention a little bit about Quick as well. But we're going to teach you about all these modules that we use to make our life easier, and you will become a superhero because you can use all these great modules and save yourself time by doing it the right way. So that's really what the workshop's about. We want to, teach you ColdBox, make sure you understand the framework, what it's trying to do, give you some sort of, some background on why we do things certain ways, but we also show you that ColdBox is really configurable, so you can do anything you want with it. And there's like 10 different ways to do everything in ColdBox. We try and make it flexible, but the funny thing is, most people say, well, how do you do it? So this workshop was created by me and Eric Peterson to basically take a step-by-step build an app and how would we do it approach. So this really gives you a lot of those insights into what Ortus Solutions developers do when they build ColdBox apps.
Okay, and what are the requirements for someone, who wants to take the workshop?
So basically, we try to make this as easy as possible to get started. So obviously, we assume you know some Cold Fusion. You could do it without Cold Fusion, but without having any knowledge, it might be a little tough, but you could do it.
Yeah.
We actually had one of our designers, Sonia, who is basically a designer.
Right. She did. I remember.
Yeah, at CF Summit, she actually came and took this ColdBox 0 to Hero, and she'd never done much with Cold Fusion at all. She's a designer, does a lot of great HTML and CSS, but we threw her in the deep end, and she didn't know anything about Cold Fusion, and she came out of this class, and she learned a lot from it too. So you can start with almost no Cold Fusion knowledge. Obviously, we want you to bring a laptop with you. We will provide a database server if you don't have a database locally, but we recommend usually having MySQL like 5.7 if you have that installed. And then we use CommandBox, so we ask you to install CommandBox before you come. But we'll give you an email if you register for the workshop, and we'll email out these prerequisites. So we'll tell you, get CommandBox. We'll tell you how to go get it. We'll tell you probably need a MySQL tool just so you can look at your database. So we'll give you some recommendations depending on if you're on Mac or Windows or Linux. And then like I said, if you have MySQL installed, great. If you want to run it locally in Docker, we'll give you a Docker Compose for that. But if not, we set up a few usually, so you can just hit DigitalOcean, and we'll set up a MySQL server there so you can use that. So that's all you really need. And then, basically come along. And the great thing about this workshop is it's usually a 2-day workshop. And sometimes we do a 1-day version of it, but this time it's a 2-day version, so we have a lot more time. So, we can really work through that. But those are really the requirements is, a laptop, a couple little bits of software, and really a willingness to learn.
Great. And well, I actually took this workshop also. And what I consider very interesting and very worth it to take it it's because you guys, you are helping everyone and giving assistance and with any questions that everyone on the group has. Now, why do you think this workshop is important?
So, I mean, I think this workshop is great because a lot of people who learn ColdBox, they do it themselves, and they learn bits and pieces that make it work. And the big thing about this workshop is we show you the problems you might face as you go too. So I like to work sort of in the error-driven development. So basically I break something, I figure out why it broke, and then I fix it. And so we'll actually purposely break stuff as we go to show you when you get this error, this is why. And we try and you learn, because the biggest problem is most people when they're learning something, they hit these errors and they have no idea what they mean. And when people do tutorials, they always show people how to do it, but they don't show people how they mess up and how they would fix it. So I think it's really important to learn more about why something broke and how to fix it when you do have something that broke. But you also learn more about the framework because we'll go over everything. We'll show you how TestBox works, how to get tests set up, all the pieces of the configuration, what all the folders mean, and in sort of the ColdBox template that you get given. And also we try and make it, well, I like to make it where it's like, okay, these are the 50 things you can do, but you can delete all this stuff and it still works, just like you would normally use it. So I think that's why it's really important, because you learn more than just getting it working. You learn the behind the scenes and the reason why, and I think it just really makes everything way more clear than trying to struggle through on your own. And you're right. Yeah. We will hold your hand through it all. Everyone gets finished. Everyone gets through these sections because we usually try and speak for about 20, 30 minutes, and then we have you do it for 30 minutes. So you actually get to do the things we're showing you. And I'm pretty sneaky about not giving you the materials ahead of time. So you have to listen to me when I'm talking. And then when you do then you get a chance to do it. So you're not sneaking ahead and getting lost because you weren't listening. But yeah, so.
Okay, great. Now, I would like to know, why do you consider you are the right person in order to lead this workshop?
Well, this workshop is usually taught by either myself or Eric or Luis or Brad. And, Eric and myself, as I mentioned, we put this workshop together a couple years ago because a lot of people learn by doing and not so much about the theory. So we want to make it more of a, learn by doing. And so we actually built an app in this workshop. And so Eric and I wrote this curriculum, and Luis and Brad have actually built on top of it and modified it some. But, I wrote the workshop, so that's a pretty good reason to do that. And obviously I'm working with Ortus. I've been working for them a long time. We've done a lot of client projects, and I feel like I'm, pretty fluid with a lot of these modules and ColdBox itself. There's always more I can learn. Don't get me wrong. I don't know everything, but, I think it's, it's a good workshop, and I've done a lot of work with it, given it several times now, and it's a fun one. So that's why I think I'm the right person to lead this workshop. But if it wasn't me, Eric or Luis or Brad, they've all done it a couple times as well, and they're all obviously really talented developers too. So, and good teachers, which is important.
Yeah, and well, definitely you're a really, ideal candidate for this because, as you said, you have worked through many projects with this, and especially, learning by doing. That is something really important. But now I would like to know, what level or expectations do you have for attendance before they come?
Well, like I said earlier, they don't have to know Cold Fusion. If they know them, that would be great. If they've heard of MVC before, that's fine. If they haven't, that's fine too, because we'll teach you what MVC is, because ColdBox is obviously an MVC framework, and we'll even teach you a little bit about modules too. So you don't need to have a lot. But the goal is we just don't want you to be uncomfortable. So if you've done a little bit, you've messed with a little bit, great. And we've actually had some people that have worked with ColdBox a lot come to this training, and they've still learned stuff. So just because you might have been using it or playing with it doesn't mean that you shouldn't come. I think it's really a good training for everybody, and you might pick up a few things that you missed. So, I think we have a wide range of people coming in, and we're hoping that you'll all leave on the right level, all being more comfortable and hopefully being able to deploy an app. And as I mentioned, we do build an app through this. This whole workshop is building a Soapbox app, which is like a Twitter clone. So you get to build a login system. You get to, tweet or rant off of our soapbox.
yeah.
You can click on the people's profiles to see what they've ranted. There's even some reaction buttons, so kind of like likes, but we put our own little spin on it. But you'll have to come to the class to find out about that.
Yeah, don't give too much detail so we can keep the mystery so that they come. Now, what will people learn in your workshop?
Well, like I said, the workshop itself, we learn a lot of different things. So, we'll look at things like CB Guide. We'll scaffold out our app. We'll look at TestBox. We'll actually look at using TestBox watches too. So as you change your code, your tests will run in the background automatically, so you can see if you pass or not. We'll look at ColdBox MVC and learn what it is. Look what the ColdBox CFC configuration file is. Look at layouts and views. What the heck is an event, an RC, and a PRC? Why are they called handlers and not controllers in MVC and ColdBox? So that's one of the things that people always ask. Like, why do you guys call them handlers? I thought it was MVC, C for controller. So just a little bit of inside knowledge. They're called handlers because before MVC was even cool, everything used to be event handlers. They were all around events. So you'd had handlers because they handled those events. And so Luis named it before MVC was even popular. So back in the old days, it was all events. So you got an event come in and you had something that handled it with an action. And so that's why we have, handlers and actions. But you could configure it to call them controllers, but we never did. So that's because ColdBox is so old. We've had it for so long. It just keeps getting upgraded all the time. But you'll learn about, as I said, layouts, views. We're going to use the command box migrations tool to set up your database and migrate from one database to another. So we're going to learn about the .env module that helps you load variables from a .env file into memory, so you can use that. So that emulates if you're using Docker or environment variables in your servers. We're going to learn all about, let's see, I mentioned CF migrations and the test harness too, so you can actually use migrations from inside your ColdFusion code. We'll look at models like creating services. We'll look at security like CB Security and CB Guide. There's a lot of stuff you learn in here. So we're going to look at a lot of different things. And then we have a whole bunch of things at the end too, which are like special topics. If we hit time, we'll basically ask the group, okay, who wants to learn how to build a module? Who wants to learn about APIs? Who wants to learn about maybe some Ajax or how would you use this for Vue, or like how can ColdBox return JSON? And so we have the ability to sort of do those extra pieces at the end. And having a 2-day class, now we have that time. And the 1 day, we never got to that. With a 2-day, we have the ability to do more of that.
Great. Okay. Now, I know that you have been given, this workshop for quite a while, but I would like to know personally, what is your favorite part about the workshop?
My favorite part is usually seeing everybody laughing when we introduce our reactions to our rants. So there's there's something in there that I probably shouldn't say on the podcast. You have to be there, but I
remember now.
Everybody laughs at it. Everybody has fun. We all have a bit of a laugh, but. Yeah, I mean, really, it's just the best thing about it is that we get to meet another group of people, and usually we have 10 to 15 people. We usually have myself and an assistant, so, another Ortus team member will help with this. So, we can make sure everyone gets through each section. We don't leave anybody behind. Everybody at the end of the day has an app they've built, and then they have the instructions so they can go back and do it again. And the next time they do it, it's going to be way faster. They'll be way more comfortable. And so when people leave here, they can actually use ColdBox. And I've had people that, that I've trained come back and say hello at the conferences. And so, you really make friends from doing these workshops, and, you hang out afterwards too. So usually we have dinner and stuff, and people will be chit-chatting at lunch about different things. And, it's just a good opportunity to really meet developers and talk about all different cool apps and projects they're working on. And it's just a really good experience. So, everyone's going to learn a lot, going to meet some great people, hear about what they're working on and different things they're running into and what they're facing, and it's just a really good time. So, yeah, that's really the best thing about the workshop is all the networking and learning that you do together.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, after the 2 days that you spend with them, you really feel like a big family, especially, working with these superheroes. So I encourage everyone to attend the workshop. This is going to be amazing. And well, Gavin is really, really experienced on this. So go ahead, guys, and register for the workshop.
Yep, you can register at intothebox.org, and this is a 2-day workshop. So if you take this, you can't take any of the other workshops. So if you take one of the one day workshops, you can take another 1-day workshop on the second day. So you can pick and choose. But this is a 2-day workshop. We need both days to cover everything where we're comfortable. And that does give us that time to do the, ad hoc at the end where we can answer questions and dive into something people want more information about. But the other thing, just to let you know, we always create a Slack group inside our Box team channel. So we add everybody to that private channel. And that way, if you have questions after the fact, I can go back and answer them. And the other cool thing I forgot to mention is because of that channel, a lot of times if someone asks a question later, other people from the workshop will actually answer it for me. So it's kind of nice that we could have this little cohort with this little group, and they'll help each other. And we leave that channel open on the Box Team Slack. So even, 6 months or a year after, people are still chit-chatting in there every once in a while, and it's a really cool thing. But yeah, it's a great workshop. 2 days at Into the Box in Houston. I'd really like to have you guys join my session. And if you can't make it to this one, we'll probably be doing it again at CF Summit in Vegas. But as we get more and more workshops and we get more demand, we never know if we're going to have this one or if we're going to get voted out and something like Quick's going to take over, So,
yeah.
So we're definitely doing it here at Into the Box in Houston 2020. So come sign up intothebox.org. There's some great discounts on right now if you get in early. So don't miss out.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll be waiting for you guys.
Yep. So cool. Well, thank you for interviewing me, stealing my seat.
Well, you're welcome. So it was really interesting. And in my case, I would say that it is a really amazing experience to be there. And especially this workshop, because you can get to see a little bit of everything. And you see how it works and how everything interacts. So you get a complete comprehension of all the frameworks, that we work with. And as you say, the co-working, you make friends, and it is a really enriching experience. So we encourage you guys to attend the workshop, definitely. So, and thank you very much for answering my questions.
No problem. Cool. Well, thanks, everybody. Hopefully we see you in Houston in May. Bye.
Great. See you then. Bye-bye.
Show notes for this episode can be found on conference.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have a link to YouTube playlist to find more videos just like this. Music from this podcast are used under a royalty-free license from sound.com and bluetreeaudio.com.